Alone in the forest, a young boy named Satu spots a shimmer of light. Two beings emerge as if from another world. One, a girl his age, introduces herself as Noah, but asks Satu to call her Heemae. She forbids Satu from ever speaking about the strange phenomenon, offering her friendship in exchange. Satu, just a little boy, feels compelled to protect her from that day forward, and eagerly accepts her hand in friendship. 10 years later, Satu is awakened by Heemae, now his next-door neighbor and close friend. Heemae's grandfather is the only one who looks after her, and Satu notes how much she's changed over the years. Heemae often reminds Satu that she is a princess and is supposed to be strong, a phrase she's repeated since childhood, though Satu never quite understood what she meant. During breakfast, Satu becomes flustered when Heemae brushes a grain of rice off his cheek. They visit her grandfather before heading to school, where Satu notices Heemae wearing a necklace with 2 rings, a reminder of a childhood promise. Heemae teases him, saying he won't be getting those rings anytime soon, making Satu wonder if their childhood promise to marry has become meaningless. At school, Heemae excels academically and brags about being a princess, though no one takes it seriously. After school, Satu nervously asks Heemae out by text. They meet at a festival where he's embarrassed to see her in a cute yukata. Heemae teases him even more, recalling how they once got lost at a festival as children and Satu held her hand until they found their way. She remarks that the younger Satu was cooler, leaving him to wonder if she wants to hold hands again. They stop at a shooting range where Satu wins her a stuffed animal. That night, under the fireworks, Satu gathers the courage to confess his feelings, but before he can, Heemae tells him she values sharing this moment with him. Then suddenly Heemae drops a bombshell. She's moving away to her hometown tomorrow. Satu walks her home, desperate to talk, but Heemae simply thanks him for the wonderful memories. Left heartbroken, Satu lies in bed regretting he never confessed his feelings. Gazing out the window, he sees the same shimmer of light from their first meeting and rushes outside. He finds Heemae at the spot where they first met. She reveals she's not just moving but returning to her home planet to marry a prince, as her status as princess demands. Satu begs her to stay, but Heemae moves on, unable to give in to his pleas. Determined, Satu follows her through the portal to her world. Arriving at a grand castle, Satu witnesses the preparations for Heemae's wedding. He calls out to her as her family questions his presence. Suddenly, an abyssal creature crashes the ceremony. Heemae's grandfather tries to protect everyone but is overpowered. As chaos erupts, Heemae looks to Satu, who faces the monster head-on. In a moment of resolve, Heemae kisses Satu, forming a powerful oath that grants them both magical abilities. Even the prince, surprisingly supportive, tosses Satu a sword. Empowered, Satu's blade glows with mystical light, and he defeats the creature in one decisive blow. Exhausted, he faints and later awakens in the royal bedchamber. Heemae explains the kiss of oath has bound them, and although she was supposed to marry the prince to unite kingdoms, she chose Satu instead. The maids praise the Ring King, who defeated the abyssal monster. News of Satu and Heemae's marriage spreads quickly. While the royal marriage was originally meant to fortify relations between empires, the prince graciously accepts this twist of fate. Satu is introduced as the official Ring King and Heemae's husband, and soon finds himself swept up in heroics and royal responsibilities. Later, Satu and Heemae share a quiet moment. She apologizes for dragging him into her world, but Satu insists he wants to stay and protect her from any threat. His words remind Heemae of how he always stood up for her, even as a child. She thanks him for being her most important friend. Suddenly, alarms sound throughout the kingdom. More abyssal creatures are attacking. Satu, caught off guard, rushes to prepare. Though Heemae fears for his safety, her grandfather insists Satu is their only hope. Armed with the Ring of Light, which amplifies his weapon's power, Satu receives another kiss of encouragement from Heemae and bravely prepares to face the monsters ahead. The creatures of the abyss terrorize a maid until Satu cuts them down, realizing he's become far stronger. Heemae's grandfather, Alabaster, explains that the Ring of Light grows more powerful each time Heemae kisses Satu, though the effect fades quickly. Alabaster promises to aid Satu in battle. Satu, in his usual awkward way, mistakenly calls him the Great Sage Asparagus instead of Alabaster, and wonders if he's truly strong. Their conversation is interrupted by the arrival of the Knight of the Abyss King, a terrifying enemy who targets Satu's Ring of Light. Foolishly, Satu charges in only to be knocked into a wall. Alabaster urges a retreat, explaining that the knight's magic is overwhelming, far beyond anything they've faced. To demonstrate magic's power, Alabaster uses an earth spell to defeat another monster. But the night surprises them by appearing suddenly, just as the Prince of the Empire, Mars, arrives to rescue them. In a comically simple move, Mars covers the night with a sheet and tosses a lamp on top, giving them time to escape. Heemae, Satu, Alabaster, and Mars flee as demons overrun the southern tower. Alabaster explains that only someone bearing immense strength and the Ring of Light can defeat the night. Satu, discouraged after his loss, learns that his current power is faint compared to what's needed. Alabaster reveals that there are 4 more rings to obtain, each from a different princess, which means Satu must marry 4 more princesses to gain their powers and become the strongest ring king. Alabaster finds the prospect exciting, but Satu and Heemae are less enthusiastic. Heemae especially dislikes the idea of sharing her husband. The group checks into an inn and Satu and Heemae stay together. That night, Alabaster explains the history of the Ring King. The Abyss King once tried to conquer the world with demonic power, destroying many countries. One hero created 5 mystical rings, each tied to a natural element and a princess, to seal the Abyss King's power. Now, with the Abyss King regaining strength, the Ring King must collect all 5 rings to seal him away again. Shaken by the responsibility and the idea of marrying more princesses, Satu tries to reassure Heemae about his injuries from the earlier fight. Heemae, feeling guilty, thinks she's to blame and runs off. Satu chases her but encounters Prince Mars, who encourages Satu to be proud of his love. After all, he traveled to another world for Heemae. Mars points Satu toward the backyard where he finds Heemae. There, Satu openly confesses he loves Heemae as more than just a friend. Heemae admits she's been struggling with his injuries and now must accept sharing him with other princesses. Realizing she needs to adapt, Heemae vows to uphold her role as Satu's true wife. Back in their room, the two are too embarrassed to speak, but Satu suggests they take things slow. Heemae agrees, grateful for his patience. The next morning, Alabaster reminds them that the Ring King's power depends on his bonds with the princesses. Their growing relationship has made Satu stronger. Alabaster then announces their next mission: to visit the elven kingdom of Loma and seek the Princess of the Wind's Ring. The sage, ever inappropriate, teases Satu about elven beauties, but Heemae quickly puts him in his place. Arriving at the kingdom's outskirts, the group encounters a powerful wind barrier that protects the elves from monsters. Suddenly, a beast appears and Satu underestimates its strength, provoking it to chase them. 2 elves rescue the group and escort them through the barrier, questioning the humans' intentions. Satu blurts out that he is the Ring King seeking the elven princess, but Heemae warns him not to assume other nations will cooperate easily. The guards lead them to the princess's lair, explaining that the great tree offers double protection against outside threats. As they wait, Satu wonders about the elf princess's personality. He tells Heemae that, despite the awkwardness, he must face whatever challenges come to save the world. Inside, they find an empty seat and the elven princess hiding behind it, clearly intimidated by humans. Satu explains that he seeks her hand as the Ring King, but the princess immediately questions the nature of his relationship with Heemae. She's unsettled by the idea of sharing her powers through a kiss, and in embarrassment she flees before Satu can say more.